everybody, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we have some wildly controversial news, probably the most insane news I'll be talking about all year. Like, I'm not even kidding here. We are talking about The Exorcist new reboot that is going to be a trilogy of new movies. And oh boy, just you wait until I tell you how much they spent on these puppies. We're gonna get into all that in just a second here, but first I'm gonna need y'all to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Also, please consider supporting me on Patreon. That would be cool. It helps this channel grow and you can see other side projects. Like currently I'm working on a Scream fan film right now that comes out in October. Who knows what I'll do in the future? Check that out by clicking on the link in the description below. Alrighty, now let's get into it.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Well, I'm Pennywise the dancing clown.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast!
You son of a...
God, don't do that.
But sometimes that is better.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Universal and Peacock just struck up this huge mega deal of like over $400 million to make a new trilogy of reboot Exorcist movies. The New York Times report Donna Langley, the film studio's chairwoman, teamed with Peacock, NBC Universal's fledgling streaming service, to make the purchase, which is expected to be announced this week, according to 3 people briefed on the matter. These people, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the still private deal, said the price was in the vicinity of the $465 million that Netflix paid in March for 2 sequels to the 2019 whodunit Knives Out. Look, it's already a risk to make one movie. Like, it might flop because the Exorcist fans are already just not into making some kind of continuation like this, and there's still people out there who think that it's going to be a straight up remake. But you're gonna make a new trilogy? What the fuck? Look, I'm not gonna say that this is a bad idea, but it's a pretty fucking bad and risky idea, man. Look, I am down for a legacy sequel like this new Candyman that comes out later next month. Like, if you want to do one continuation like that, cool, whatever. You know what, I'm down for that, as long as you're not making a straight up remake, because you just can't remake The Exorcist. I'm not going to even try to argue that. Now, on top of that, though, we have some even crazier news about this, which I can't even believe I'm saying that. On top of all of that, they have also announced, like, some of the cast members and, like, some plot details. So first of all, I'll say this is actually pretty dope. Leslie Odom Jr. from Hamilton is going to be one of the main characters in this. He's going to be playing a father whose daughter becomes possessed by Pazuzu, I'm assuming, to which he responds to Chris McNeil, who is going to be played by the original actress that portrayed her in the 1973 film, Ellen Burstyn, who is 88 years old right now. Now look, let's get super serious for a moment. God forbid this happens, but poor Ellen Burstyn is 88 years old. God bless that woman, first of all, for coming back to this awesome horror film. Like, she's already confirmed to be coming back to reprise her role. That is amazing. God forbid, is she gonna make it through a new trilogy of movies, though? I hope so. I really hope so. That would be so cool if she made it through all these movies and lived. I don't know. I don't like that. It could happen, you know? And that's such a terrible thing to think about, but it's very possible for that to happen. And it sucks. I hope it doesn't. Which, yet again, we have another risky move, Universal and Blumhouse. Guys, oh my god. So basically, just to run through that plot description again, Leslie Odom Jr.'s character is going to be reaching out to Chris McNeil's character when his daughter becomes possessed by Pazuzu, some new demon, I'm not sure. That's all we know so far about David Gordon Green's new The Exorcist movie. I have so much to say about this. I don't think we need a trilogy of Exorcist reboots. We do not. We really don't. One movie? Okay, sure, whatever. That's cool. But like a new trilogy of films, what the fuck could they do in 3 movies that is going to keep people's interest? I once again would like to compare this to how Dr. Sleep played out, where it's like, it seems like a good idea to make a continuation to a movie from like 40 years ago, but it just doesn't capture people's attentions like the slasher film continuation. Why that is because with Michael Myers, he's very malleable. I'm kind of just repeating stuff that I talked about in my last Exorcist video, but this is important to talk about, because with Michael Myers, you have a character where you can do so much with him. It's a very basic concept. It's nothing too crazy. It's just Michael Myers hunting down Laurie Strode. It's a simple concept. You can do a whole bunch with it. You can add new characters in. You can add like a totally different style, tone, setting, blah, blah, blah. You can keep doing that for hundreds and hundreds of years if you really wanted to. Very similar to like what they've done with Batman. They've had Batman all over the place in different locations, different supervillains. With The Exorcist, you don't really have that. You have a one movie that was super successful and super shocking because of the time period that it came out. That's why it was so successful. If The Exorcist came out today, that exact movie, Guarantee you it wouldn't be anything super special. The reason that film is such a landmark movie is because it was one of the most disturbing films at the time. If you go back and watch The Exorcist, like, it's a good horror film. It holds up, just not as well as everyone says it does. I don't think it's the scariest film ever made. I think films have topped it. In 1973, my opinion would be completely different. I think if we were just talking about films from 1973 and prior, yeah, scariest film ever made, sure. I love The Exorcist. It's one of my top 10 favorite horror films of all time. Even now, I think it still holds up as a great story nonetheless, even if I think some of the scare scenes do get a little cheesy at some points. But once again, I just want to say the biggest thing about The Exorcist, the reason why that was so successful is because it came out in the early 70s, man, and it was such a huge film. Like, people were throwing up in their seats because they had never seen anything like this. There's like a whole bunch of accounts of people having to leave the theater because they were so appalled by this thing. You never hear about that nowadays because, like, there's just so much shocking content that you can get anywhere on the internet. That's why I've just never been a big supporter of continuations to The Exorcist or remakes, reboots, whatever, because you're not gonna get that same shock factor again. There are so many other horror franchises today that you could continue opposed to this, where this one, it's like you're just gonna be making more possession films, which are kinda on the outs. That last Conjuring film kind of put the last nail in the coffin with that, honestly. Like, the past decade, like past 10 years, sure, like if you would have released it back then, hell yeah, like all the power to you if you released it from 2010 to 2020. But now, like, the craze is all about old people versus slashers. That is like the biggest thing, the most successful kinds of movies, and every franchise is copying it. We're gonna see like just about every big horror franchise from like the 80s come back in some capacity in that style. I mean, we're already talking about doing it with Friday the 13th, even though all those are rumors, but I guarantee you if that lawsuit ends sometime soon, we get a movie like that, for sure, in the Friday the 13th universe. Possession films are just on the outs. I don't understand why Blumhouse and Universal, they're just like, fuck yeah, let's do this. Let's spend $441 million on a new trilogy of films that are on an outdated concept. Not outdated, but just not popular anymore. And on something that is just so risky. Exorcist fans don't want a continuation. They love that original film, they don't want a remake. And even though this technically isn't a remake, you're still gonna have people out there that are like, oh, Exorcist 2023 or whatever, screw that, I don't want to see no remake. Some people are really traditional like that. I disagree with that personally. I mean, I'm always down for like a reboot sequel, that sounds cool, but I just don't think you're gonna capture that same magic nowadays. It really is a shame because I would like to see Exorcist continuations that are actually good, you know, like Exorcist 3, which is like kind of like a contained story, but also kind of has to do with the events of the first movie. I like that film. It's good. It's the best sequel, easily. Nothing even comes close. But man, I don't know, man. I mean, look, David Gordon Green is going to be directing just the first movie, I believe, as of right now. But like, once again, I don't think this is gonna be good. I think it's gonna totally bomb. This is gonna be a huge waste of money, which sucks, man. It's really frustrating. In a little more recent news though, Linda Blair also just announced that she has not been contacted to be in this new film. So you're gonna do a legacy sequel without Linda Blair? Like, there's so many things about this I don't love so far. That's why I'm not on board Blumhouse or Universal. Like, you gotta do something here. Ellen Burstyn coming back is fucking awesome, but she's an old lady, man. Like, I don't think she's gonna make it through a trilogy of new films. Like, maybe just that first one? Okay, but like, the way that this article puts it, it kind of seems like they want her to be in all three of these new movies. So like, if they do a trilogy, theoretically, the latest that the furthest one in the future, like the third film in this new trilogy would come out is 2027, which I think she would be like, what, 95 at that point? I don't know, my math is absolutely terrible. That's why I'm a YouTuber. You gotta have Linda Blair come back. That is a must. The team behind the new Halloween films, Scott Teems, Danny McBride, and David Gordon Green all teamed up for the story, being penned by Peter Sadler, who wrote Broken Diamonds. Also, Blumhouse will be producing the film with Morgan Creek Entertainment. The first film in the trilogy will be released theatrically on October 13th in 2023. Now, it says that they teamed up with Peacock, so I don't know if like 2 years in the future from now we're still doing these like straight to streaming movies or not. I kind of hope not, because it really hurts theaters, but like if we are, it will probably go straight to Peacock when it gets released theatrically, as like it'll have a theatrical release and a streaming release, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Just to recap what I was saying before, like, yeah, I would like an Exorcist continuation, just not now. Like, now is not the time for that. Like I said, 10 years ago would have been perfect. Now it's just not really the craze. I'm not loving everything I'm hearing about this film. I mean, Linda Blair of course could still be in it. They're not even in like pre-production really at this point. What do you guys think about a new trilogy of Exorcist reboots though? Maybe you're totally down for it. Give me a reason why in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching my video on the Exorcist reboots movies. That's a weird way to put that. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Just look up KillJoy Jake and I'll come up. Please consider supporting me on Patreon as well. The link for that will be in the description below. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.